Hello and welcome to My Delicious Food, the first episode. If you're here, probably because you're a good friend, family, or just somebody curious about what we got cooking in Marty's kitchen. So today we're going to do three simple things. We're going to do a salsa, a guacamole, and a pico de gallo. And mostly because they all have the same ingredients, basically, we just tweak a few things, add a few things, and one or the other. And we're going to start with the salsa first. And I've already pre-roasted the vegetables here so that we don't have to take too much time doing that. So I like to put them in a pan with a little bit of olive oil and just roast them to the nice char on them, the jalapeno, the tomatoes, and the onion. And then I also have some garlic cloves, full garlic cloves in there. Okay. Once we get them to that point, then we just take them and put them in our blender. And some people like to take the skins off the tomato. I don't. I like them in there because I like the little charred bits that are clinging to it. And I put everything right in the blender. This blender has been with me for a long, long time. I'm talking probably over 20 years. When I was in the, I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran. And when we used to travel, I used to bring it with us all the time because I cooked everywhere I went. And a lot of places that I went to overseas, I learned how to make a lot of different things. And hopefully I'll get to share those recipes with you if you keep tuning in. All right, so we put that in there, and then we put some salt. I like to use sea salt. Don't be scared of salt. Salt is your friend, regardless of what your doctor tells you. Okay, and then we take some lime. I'm going to take a nice juicy lime. And I like this little tool to get all the juice out of the lime. You can just squeeze it with your hands, but you won't get everything out. And this really, really gets in there. You see all that juice coming out? Gets it all in there. And then after that, we're just going to take some cilantro. And I only use the tops. I don't use the bottoms, the stem pieces. Some places do, I don't. I'm going to give it a quick rinse. And then we just throw the whole thing in there. Okay? All right. Now we're ready to blend it up. A little noisy. Nice and mixed up. You want it to be still a little chunky. And then there you have it. Some nice salsa. And if you don't want it to be as spicy, you can cut the jalapeno in half, or you can use more jalapenos if you like it a little spicier. Okay? So that's the salsa. And next we're going to move on to the guacamole. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to our guacamole. And I think one of the biggest things with guacamole is people put too much stuff in it. You need very basic ingredients. You need your avocado, your onion, your tomato, and your cilantro, and your lime, and salt. That's it. Nothing else. No garlic, nothing else. And I think that's the problem with a lot of people, that they hate guacamole, is because they've never really just tasted a good, fresh guacamole that's not too limey, not too processed. So anyway, let's get started with our guacamole. So you got to start with ripe avocados. If you can get avocados that come from Mexico, they're better. They have a more yellow inside, and the bones are typically smaller. I call them the bones. It's a pit. Okay, and I always have something to throw my garbage in, a little bowl or something. And then I forgot to get a spoon. Let me get a spoon so we can take the insides out. You scoop them out into a bowl, just like that. Careful not to get the little nub at the end, because it's bitter. Okay. And I'm going to use 3 avocados for my guacamole. Careful when using the knife. Sometimes the pit will come out all nice and easy, and sometimes it won't. And then this is what I do. Don't try that at home. And I release it in there. Okay. These avocados are actually pretty good. Sometimes you don't get the ripe ones in the grocery store. I just leave them on the windowsill with their sunlight for a couple of days and they'll ripen up nicely. I think we're almost there to start the chopping. Oh, if you get an avocado, you see that has a brown on the inside, try not to use the brown because it'll make your guacamole go bad faster. And later we'll talk about how to keep it from getting brown in your refrigerator. All right, here we go. All right, so we got that all in there. And at this point, I like to actually use the lime on it to keep it from browning too fast. And then I put the salt in also, and then I mash it up. Okay. Okay, so I've already added some salt, and I'm going to add some lime. I went ahead and pre-chopped all the vegetables, so you don't have to sit there and watch me. I know it's satisfying to some people to watch chopping, but for this one, we're a little low on time. So we're going to squeeze the lime in there. And we don't want to put too much lime in there because that's, I think, the mistake that a lot of people make when they make guacamole is too much lime. You can always add a little more, but you can't ever take it out. So we'll just start with half a lime. Okay. And then I usually have another masher that I brought here from Korea that I've been using for like 20 years. It's a really cool masher, but I left it at my friend's house, and now we're quarantined, so I can't go get it. All right, so we just mash it up. And you don't want to mash it like really smooth. You want it to be a little bit chunky. I like the mashing part. You get all your aggressions out. But you should always cook happy because I feel like your emotions go into your food, so that's important too. All right, so I think we've got a good mash there. Now we add our ingredients. This is about 1 tomato chopped up. This is 1/4 of an onion. This size onion, oops, 1/4. All right. And then we add our cilantro. Now you don't have to add cilantro because I know some people don't like cilantro. They think it tastes like soap. I think it tastes like home, so I'm going to add cilantro. And then the final option is jalapeno to make it spicy. I'm not adding jalapeno this time because we're going to share this with my producer / daughter Izzy, so I'm not going to put it in there. And then we just give it a quick stir. Make sure everything's in there. And while you're doing it, give it a little mash so that the tomatoes and the onions release their juices into the guacamole and make it really super tasty. Okay, and that's it for that. Typically, I would make it in a molcajete. This is a molcajete. It's made out of lava rock, and you can get them in Mexico. Some of the markets here, you can go, some of the Hispanic markets have it too. But this is too small for our family for that, so I mostly use this to grind with spices. But that's a molcajete. All right, so our guacamole is nice and ready, and we'll just put it into our little, and you can use guacamole for everything. It's not for chips and salt, and they're not eating it with chips anymore. You can put it on toast, you can put it on tacos, you can put it on just about anything. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful guacamole? And next we're going to do our Pico de Gallo. Okay, so now we're ready to make our Pico de Gallo. Remember before I said that we use all the basic ingredients? So we did. We used the tomatoes, the onions, the cilantro, and the lime in almost all of the recipes. And the jalapenos, of course. I can't forget the jalapenos. So the Pico de Gallo is basically like a salsa, but not really. It's almost like a chutney. And so we started with the same type things. I did 1 tomato. Okay. 1/4 of an onion. Cilantro. This one, you can leave out the cilantro, but I don't think it would be the same. So if you don't like cilantro, I suppose you could use parsley or something else. It's up to you. Pico de Gallo, this one needs the jalapeno. That's where the pico comes from, because pico means a bite or a point or something, but it's more of a bite. So Pico de Gallo should be spicy. I do make it unspicy because a lot of my friends don't like spicy. I'm not going to name any names, Barbara. So you put it all together, and then we squeeze our lime in here. Again, I like my handy little tool here. On this one, I put a little bit more lime than I normally do with all my other recipes. So I'll use a full lime in this one. Love the smell of lime and cilantro. I love the smell of cilantro. It's just like home to me. And then generous amount of salt. And then we mix it all together. And you have a nice, beautiful, colorful pico de gallo. This is great on tacos and tostadas and all these other delicious Mexican dishes that we're going to make eventually. So this has been my first edition of My Delicious Food. I'm glad you tuned in. I hope you learned a little something, and I'm sorry we started out so basic, but stay tuned, and next time we're going to make something even more exciting. So thank you, and tune in. Make sure you like my page. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and thanks for coming. Okay. That's okay.